Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Elm City Lit Fest podcast. Thank you for joining us on this Easter Sunday today as we celebrate National Poetry Month. Today we have some phenomenal poets from the area that we are excited to chop it up with and get into deeper conversation with today. We also would like to say thank you to Social Ventures Partners of CT for sponsoring this episode and this podcast today. The Elm City Lit Fest was honored to receive a grant recently from them. And we're just super excited for all the programming we are getting together for the summer and our upcoming festival. We are already working on it and planning it. It's going to be out of sight. So let's dive into today. Today we have G.A.N.G. Say.
What's up, everybody? How you guys doing?
We have Lawrence Logic Taylor joining us. We have Julian Mean, aka Brother Bear. We have Phillip Alexander joining us today. And we have the lovely M.K. Calero joining us as well.
How's it going?
Hello, everyone. How is everyone doing on this lovely Sunday?
Doing well.
Pretty good. Weather's nice.
Great. Yeah, it's pretty good, you know.
Definitely, the sun is shining today. They gave us a good, good weather. It's definitely been up and down. I don't personally trust it. I think it's all climate change. But let's go and tell the folks a little bit deeper about yourselves. I'll call on someone and let's kind of ping pong, okay? So let's start with Brother Bear. I love that name. I love this energy I'm getting.
I actually got it because everybody sees the necklace. And everybody started calling me Brother Bear. I'm from Hartford. I'm 20. I go to Central Connecticut State University, and I started writing about 3 years ago. I'm actually now part of a collective of writers called the Transcribers. My friend Oso that I started, co-founder. We just announced actually an event coming in May, and we just set out a submission cast for some poets. We need at least 10 poets for the event in May. It's just going to be a little poetry slam. That's just me though. Tap in.
We love it. We'll get some more information on this event because we definitely want to keep pushing. As we have this platform, it is to just continue that cycle of information. MK, would you like to go next?
Sure. I'm MK, also known as Michelle. I'm originally from Newark, New Jersey. I came up to Connecticut for school up in University of Bridgeport, and got my bachelor's there, and Connecticut kind of just grew on me, so I just stuck around, and I got my master's up in Cambridge, Massachusetts, in creative writing for young people, and primarily I'm a young adult fiction writer. I've always loved young adult literature. Always wanted to write young adult literature, and poetry was something I started to write in high school, more as like just an expressive art, and mostly therapeutic. And a lot of it in the beginning was really bad, but as I honed my craft and I learned more about poetry, I kind of gained the confidence to kind of share it with others other than myself.
I love that. I'm geeking. I'm from Newark too. And that's how a lot of folks from Newark end up here. We come up here to go to school, and then it's like, okay. It's pretty chill up here. You can know it's a little bit quiet, it's a little slow. I love that. Phillip, would you like to go next?
Yeah, of course, definitely. So my name is Phillip Alexander, born and raised in Bridgeport, Connecticut. I've been writing poetry since I was younger, maybe about 10 or 12 years old. I didn't get into it too serious until I went to college. I performed a couple times. Wasn't my best performance, but I got up there and said what I had to say. And through me performing and seeing that I needed to work on my craft, we now have what we call G.A.N.G poetry, which is what I'm one of the founders of. And with that, we just give people a platform to come up and say your poetry monthly. And I'm just grateful that you guys have me on here today. I'm ready to just get right into it.
It's an honor to have you. It's interesting how I learned about G.A.N.G poetry. I was at Hook and Reel, and I ran into Roz.
Okay.
Roz was actually my server at the time. We were just talking. He has like amazing, dope energy that you just get into conversation with. And he was like, "Yeah, I do poetry. I wanted to invite y'all to this event we're having." I was like, "What? Tell me more about what you do." He was like, "Yeah, my folks are down in Bridgeport. We're having it's live, but we also are a collective of artists." I said, "This ain't nobody but God. Tell me more." So we definitely connected the dots to make this happen, and we would love to hear a little bit more about G.A.N.G poetry when we get a little farther. But that's dope.
Definitely.
Omicron.
What's going on? My name is G.A.N.G. I am 27, going to be turning 28 the end of next month. Actually, the end of this month. I'm originally from New Jersey. I'm from South Orange, so Jersey gang. But I currently live in Anacostia, Southeast Washington, D.C. I'm a beatboxer, and I've been doing that for pretty much my entire life. I used to get in trouble a lot, so be on punishment, just kind of practicing noises with my mouth. To make a long story short, it wasn't until I got to college and I met up with this artist collective called USIVE. Shout out to Josh and Dante; those guys are dope. They kind of gave me the confidence to really kind of go out and express this art to people. So I recently just got into poetry through an initiative with DC Spit That. They have this program they're starting up called Spit That Academy. And how they presented it, I thought it was just kind of a way to kind of, work on my performance skills as a beatboxer. But after doing like a bunch of research, come to find out it's for poetry. So I was just like, you know what? I figured, your artistic expression kind of like goes through like a lot of boundaries. So you can always learn a lot of stuff from doing different crafts. So I'm going to be doing that. Yeah, I have a lot to say, but I guess we'll just save that for the show in a nutshell.
It'll come out. We get all over the place. And last but certainly not least, Logic.
Taylor. And so as being a pocket, I learned poetry. Right time. And actually, I stopped doing music for a while. Actually, past like, and I've been on other endeavors such as my clothing line. Came to the first performance of G.A.N.G poetry, and it definitely sparked a flame to get me back into poetry. So shout out to Phil for that, because he definitely was my boy, and first he killed it. So it definitely sparked. I'm actually honored to poet. Quick, thanks to y'all.
Oh man, like I'm hearing it, but it's going in and out. Is it going in and out for other folks? Okay, I got some phenomenal pieces though. I got the shout out to Phil. I got that you have 2 clothing lines as well. That you had kind of took a break, but it seems like energy, iron sharpens iron. When you got into that room and you heard these brothers spit, that it put a spark in you. And I think that's what we want poetry and the arts to do, to put that spark back in someone and keep that fuel ignited. Okay, let's see if Rev Kev what tips he has. He'll probably make it happen. So can we get into some poetry just off the rip? Okay, I don't want to put any pressure on anyone, but if anyone would like, Phil, my brother, I feel the energy. I feel the energy. Give it to the people.
I got you. So this is something I have. It's called Fix the Washing Machine. All right. So shattered, broken glass in a street of open graves. The roads been paved by slaves died with their given names. Stricken, beaten, battered, tarred, tattered, literally set in flames. Made to be forgotten. Newspapers wouldn't even say our names. Only claim to fame was in the hood, but that shit all the same. That's the only thing that let him know that he ain't die in vain. What a curse. They don't know me, but they want me off this earth. Want to stop my reproduction? No more black babies at birth. White sheet to a black bag to a tabletop to a hearse. I'm sorry my blackness offends you, but no need to clutch your purse. They ask, why is all this money filthy? Because we got it out the dirt. Didn't need no Oxfords and no button-ups. They said, fuck your college shirt. We gonna make a way when there's no way. High pain tolerance for hurt. Your intolerance diminishes my acknowledgments. You're worth less. Less ground, because it's too deep at the bottom. It's a pit. Must be why they put us here, because they knew they would forget. A hollow surface had collapsed, causing a hole in the ground. Throw in a little conflict and they'll keep on sinking down. That indentation caused the trench. I guess that's why we say the trenches. When you open up your eyes, man, you'll have so many questions. The chronicle is relentless, suggest you pay attention. Everything that was will be again. The cycle's endless.
Can you talk to us a bit about what made you name it Washing Machine?
So fix the washing machine because the cycle's broken. So basically, when you have a broken cycle, like when you think of a cycle, you think of a washing machine. So I'm like, fix the washing machine because you want to fix the cycle. Everything that we saw 40, 50, 60 years ago is now happening again. Everything that happened is going to represent itself. So the way I see it is if we don't fix the cycle, that washing machine is going to be broken forever. You're never going to have those clean clothes that you want unless we fix the actual root of our issues.
These metaphors are going so deep. It's going so deep, right? Because you can call the repairman, you can call the Maytag man, and get all these band-aids. You can get these laws, you can get these movements, these trends of activism. But if you don't nip the problem at the bud or at the root, then you still are in this hamster wheel of the same cycle. Holy moly. Is anyone getting tingly? It's just me. Michelle, can I tag you in?
Yeah, sure. Let me see. I was scrambling in the beginning to see what I can give you guys. Here's a short piece. It's called Due to Inclement Weather. Growing up is nothing like what you see in movies. And it is nothing like what your parents tell you. Growing up is sudden snowfall outside when the weatherman told you to dress for rain. That's it. That's the short one.
Loving it.
Thank you.
I love it. That was to the point, but still powerful at the same time. When you created that, what did you want folks to get from it? What was the message you wanted folks to stick with?
That life, things that happen in life is often don't go as expected. I've learned to kind of live my life by a quote from my uncle, which is live life in the unexpected. In that sense, it's really just kind of rolling with the punches, right? So, I think as kids, we have this kind of imagined future of what we think adulthood is going to be like. And then when I found that transition was much harder than I could have ever imagined. So I kind of wanted to say something say that in like a subtle way, and hope that people can connect with it.
That's a fact. I can second that. I feel like getting older and getting grown was like it was an accomplishment, yes, right? But no one ever broke down what it truly means to be grown and on your own. It's not really okay. Well, I can go where I want to go. If you don't got no money to go anywhere, you won't be doing anything. As much as freedom, autonomy, and agency you have, if you haven't got your cookies together, or you know you got a situation going on for yourself, then you really SOL. And I think about as kind of to the cycles that Phillip spoke about. When you're getting older, if no one in your family has gotten out of a cycle, then you're really left on your own, because everyone's going through their own hamster wheel and there aren't any resources allotted for you to like, okay, I don't know, I'm not coming from nobody with a trust fund, okay? There's no one I know who was like, okay, well, they got a business, well, you know, you could work from them and start from there. No, it was, I came to Connecticut. I said, cool, it's quieter here. We're gonna make it happen. I didn't know anybody here. Anybody that I now know, I had to meet off GP. And I think a lot of growing up is relationships, because if you don't have 100%. Anybody to fall back on, or if you've been out here planting ill seeds, you will have an ill harvest.
I agree. Well said.
This is also a dialogue. I can see it in folks' eyes. We don't have to. This is definitely a conversation back and forth. So if there's anything you want to, as long as folks aren't talking, feel free to jump in and spit, or if there's something that someone else says that you want to speak to. So Brother Bear, can you give us a little something? Take us on a journey, a little ride.
Okay. This poem is called Pray My Soul. Yeah, I'm gonna just get into it. So I guess I'm not your average type. Situations I've been through left me half as nice in some cases. Guess I had to write. See, with what I've been through, I wasn't acting right. So I picked up a pencil and let my thoughts be a sacrifice. Are you still listening? Forgive my lack of layered penmanship, but I've chosen to be blunt with these next sentences. Let me take you through a story of a black boy who didn't want to be in mourning, but well, see, they chose war for me. I've been shot down, choked out, locked down, even broke into my own house, killed my girl, and they keep wondering what I'm fighting about. Bruises on my neck, bullets in my chest, scars on my wrists, and it's all for a check. Nah, it's power. And that's some shit I can't respect. They put so many bodies in the ground, yet I'm supposed to be the threat. Bet I am. And I'm going to make sure you never forget the names of the people that you laid to rest. So soon you may see me on your phone or on your TV. Hopefully it's just this video, but maybe I get too greedy. Red Black Power on the station and my name in graffiti. Try to duck out, but I never been too speedy. So when they catch me, I'll be another BMTD. Plastered on the news. Oh, you won't believe me. But it's really true. I'll become another repeat. Blast from the past. Don't act like you never seen me. Now it's all on you. They calling you to the streets, B. Protesting my name, but I feel like I got set free from a world in pain. See, they tried to deceive me. Said my skin was to blame, but my brother said I'm kingly. Time to embrace it. It feel different breaking out the matrix, but before you become a soldier, you got to go through basics. So let's face it. The system, so we got to break it down in order to fully change it. Pushback is a given. We've been killed in many cases, pulled over, knock, different date, but the same. They spent the last 100 years being a stereotype, so we can take it. So I'm done being silent by any means. We need to make it. And if that means peaceful protest, cause of silence, I may come down to full on defiance, riots, and violence. They're going to try to calm us down to keep their clients, but they can't break me down to take my crown. Wish I could say they can't take me down, but I've been radical lately. Soon they gonna lay me down. SWAT team, like machine gun or grenade me down. And if they do, tell my brother, just hold my people down. Forever the foes, balance your soul. I die on my feet before I live on my knees. 10 toes down and 6 feet deep. Peace.
Fuck that.
I knew he was going to take us on a journey. And that's exactly what he did.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we gotta talk about this. We definitely have to dissect what just happened. So starting with the last line you said, 10 toes down, rather die on my knees. Like, can you? I feel like I'm messing up the words due to excitement, and I know I am. But I remember one. I already was familiar with that line very, very much. 10 toes down. Like that's what we say that back home, and that has been a mantra of mine for some time. That's helped me prevail through a lot of things. Can you talk about those last two lines of the poem you just spit?
When I think about like what the history of who I am and who we are as a people, is always about the system keeping us down in a way. And I'm not one to just lie down and let something happen to me that I don't want to happen. I feel like we got power and all that. So, when it comes down to it, if I really have to, I'm not just going to lay down. I'd rather die on my feet than, to live on my knees basically. And if I'm not on my 10 toes, then I'm going out. That's really it. That's how I see it.
Yo, I'm sorry. Yeah, I actually got a question. So what's your actual process for writing? Like I just started and I'm like still having a hard time really kind of getting my thoughts together, and that seems like a really intricate piece to kind of have figured down with cadence. And it's like what's your process look like when you actually write a poem?
So it can differ, but usually I write in spurts. Kind of. I don't really finish anything until it clicks. So I might have something I might have an idea and I'll write it down, and I might not come back to it for like another month, to be honest. So this one, it took me a month to finish, but I started with, there's a Freddie Gibbs song. The reason it's called Pray My Soul is because there's a Freddie Gibbs song. In the song, he goes, pray my soul to keep, dear Lord, lay me down. The SWAT team might machine gun or grenade me down. And that's where I got that last part. So I started with the last part, and then I kind of worked my way backwards, if that makes sense. The other poems may not be like that. Other poems I might start with the first part and it just clicks one day and I'll be like, oh my God, I gotta finish this. like sometimes I just get headaches and I'll be like, no, I have to write this or it's gonna bother me. So that's usually, I don't really sit down to write anything. I can't really give myself prompts or else I'm not gonna come up with anything because it's just gonna stifle my creation, I guess. But I don't know if that really helped.
Nah, that helped. Because I'm taking the Spit That Academy classes right now, and one of the things Crochet Kingpin tells us is to never really erase anything, because you don't know if that one line will be the one that'll be like your next piece.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just even saying that you didn't come back to that for after a couple months, but I feel like with me, I don't know if it's like the ADHD, but I get super scatterbrained because it's oh, I have this idea. Wait, that didn't sound right. Maybe I don't want to put that down. Oh, maybe I should add this one. And next thing I know, I find myself all this stuff on the page, and I don't know where to begin to kind of connect it. I'll have an idea, but I don't know a clever way to actually connect all the pieces together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. Go ahead, Phil.
I feel like that's the best thing about the creative process, though, because you can have all of those ideas. What I do personally is I write in my notes. So I'll have 1,000 ideas going at once. Boom, one thing will come to me, I'll write it in that note. And if I have another idea, I'll put it in a different note. And as I'm writing it throughout that process, say I'm reading different things, I'll go back and I'll put them together. So now I have two totally separate ideas that I have from two different notes, and I put them together and made it flow into one piece. So it's with the creative process, I never want to limit myself. I always make sure I write everything down and I go back to it, I tweak it, and yeah, bro, you just gotta let everything flow out of you naturally. And I never try to force anything. I just want everything to come very genuinely and generically.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure this stuff out. So much respect for poets, man. This is.
I love that. This was actually one of the questions that I had, and I kind of want to stay here for a little bit. I know we have two more folks who we have to spit a piece, but let's talk a little bit more about the creative process, because what I'm hearing is that it's really much better to. I don't consider myself a creative. I consider myself the connect, the organizer in the background, like how we all got here type joint. That's really me. I'm the bigs to the Dame Dash and the Hove. But
I personally don't throw out anything, and for me, I don't know about anyone else, but if I don't write something down as soon as it enters my head, once it's gone, and I hate that. So I have actually dedicated pages of like one-liners that come to my head, and like in my like Moleskine notebook, I have like it's just called lines, and it's just all one-liners of. They could be anything. It doesn't have to be poetry. It can be something for fiction. It can be something for a post. But I just write it all down there. And actually, when I want to write and kind of draw inspiration, sometimes I just look at those pages with random lines just to kind of draw inspiration and kind of slowly piece things together. Most of the time, I don't use the lines, but sometimes I do, and it comes in clutch. Farther later on down the road when you're working on a piece and you go back to a previous idea you had months or weeks ago, and it just kind of clicks.
Brother Logic, when you write, how is that? Is it like a logical process for you, or is it more of a free flow process?
Well, when it comes to poetry, I really just go by what I feel at that moment. Sometimes, honestly, I can drive inspiration from anything. It could be TV, it can be other music, my music, whatever mood I'm moment. But usually when it comes to music, me personally, I feed off the beat that I'm listening to. I see a beat as like the start of a canvas, and then I just add on my own little portrait, that background of the canvas.
And I know music, it seems like music and poetry are kind of like romance languages.
They're hand in hand. I mean, like I said, Tupac is a prime example from poetry to rap, and that's what actually got me even started. Like, my mother did poetry when I was a kid, and I used to like watch her write her poetry and listen to her poems. But Pac was the main influencer. Yeah, because I just thought poetry was one thing and rap was something totally different. And then I'm listening to Pac and I'm reading his poetry book and I'm like, hold up, like these are raps, like, So I'm like, hold up, if he can do it, I can do it too. So yeah. Definitely.
His poems in The Rose That Grew from the Concrete it's deep. And I feel I would consider myself a hip hop scholar, that rap definitely is poetry. I feel like it definitely that's at the root. Folks were telling a story of what happened. You're telling about the Bronx in the 80s. Like you're literally telling a reflection of what's happening.
That's what music is all about. That's how it started. It was all about self-expression. But yeah,
so who are some
I'll be honest, I feel like it is a dying thing with music, that the self-expression I feel it's not as strong as it used to be. But you got artists like Cole and Kendrick, which really definitely influences self-expression in music. And I think that's the most important thing.
See, that's an interesting conversation. Can we talk a little bit about self-expression and I would say in music, right? Since we're kind of on a music tip right now. I feel like the young folks today, they get a bad rap because it's like folks are like, where's the Rakim? Where are the sentences? Where are these bars? But part of me really feels like that self-expression is really with the producer now. Like it's kind of switched a little bit. Before, folks listen to the MC, but to me, it's the producers making the bread right now. It's the beat. It doesn't matter what they say because the beat is what is carrying folks in. So how do you all feel about that?
So like I just want to say that like this is literally just history repeating itself, because like even when you look back at like older generations, it was always the older people always looking down on the younger people with the music that come out. Like, oh, you're listening to this rock and roll, you should be listening to abandoned swing. What is this devil music? And then the next one is, you're listening to hip hop, you should be listening to good old fashioned Motown. I don't know why you're listening to these lyrics, you know what I mean? And it's just the same thing that's happening today. It's like, oh, you're listening to Tekashi 6ix9ine. What happened to people that were listening to Tupac and Biggie Smalls and Rakim and all these people? Like, honestly, I just feel like, again, this is just history repeating itself. And, it's just when you have an appreciation for, Your ancestors are those that were in the past that created the craft. You know, that's when you have the Kendrick Lamars, you have the J. Coles that are able to still kind of bring that type of that form of hip hop still there. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I just say that, like, you know, history's just repeating itself. So I guarantee in a couple years or whatever, they'll be saying the same thing about today's rappers. You know, so.
Precisely. There's always a natural changing of the guards, right? It's just, as you said, it's from blues to Motown, from Motown to disco, from disco to rap to the 2000s. It's just natural of how time and like a culture changes as it goes on. We're constantly referencing it back, but I think no matter how it goes, with all artists and anyone is in the culture is held to the Nina Simone quote that the art should reflect the times. At the bare basis, I feel like that's what every artist has a duty to do, no matter what's the medium, no matter what's going on. And kind of we talk about the changing of the guards. Phil, can you tell us a little bit more about gang poetry and how you getting started? What's the vision and what's the energy and the culture that you all are bringing?
Yeah, of course. So basically, gang poetry has started from a conversation amongst my cousin Javid and I. So just like one random day, I called him up. And I'm like, yo, cuz like I do poetry. I don't know any poets in the area. And he's like, all right, like I'm gonna hook you up with somebody. We'll have a conversation. So the very next day, I ended up meeting with a couple people that are in his company, and then Raj. And Raj is like, I'm a poet. And I'm like, that's crazy. I'm a poet. So we start doing poetry. And then from there, it just took off. The idea of gang poetry was birthed. We said we wanted to give poets a platform to come out and just express their art without being judged, where they're able to just put everything they have into the world. Because once you, like you said, art is a reflection of reality. Once you put the art into the world, it's bigger than you. You never know who it's going to affect, who it's going to touch. So we just wanted to give people the platform to come out and put what they feel, how they feel into the world, so other people that resonate with it could, you know, they have something to look back at. They have something. Oh, do you remember gang poetry? He said this, he said that. And now because you said what you said, you have a following behind you from just using the platform that we gave you to elevate your craft.
I love that. I love that because when you're on the right path and when your actions align with the vision that's bigger than you, it'll just click. You'll just start running into people, and it's like, what you do poetry? It's just like y'all ever seen that meme with the 2 Spider-Mans and he's like the 3 Spider-Mans and they're like, like there's a lot going here, but I love that it's called gang poetry, and then really just based off that summation you gave of it. Make a space and a platform for folks to share, for folks to, no matter how you feel, to have that, to be vulnerable and to know that folks in the gang will take care of you because it's on the gang. We got you.
So gang actually means gaining attention nonstop globally. So it's an extension of, we have something called Creeper Gang. So Creeper Gang is creating reasonable efforts, enticing people anywhere, gaining attention nonstop globally. So we want to create those reasonable efforts. We want people to come out and just do their due diligence, you know, work on their craft and perform to the best of their ability. And then we just want you to gain that attention nonstop globally. So just come and use our platform to elevate yourself. Because at the end of the day, like I said, it's bigger than us.
That and it warms my heart, right? Because it's globally, and I think that a lot of times we limit ourselves to just the region, the state, or just what we know is as this 95 strip or East Coast, West Coast. But to know that y'all are rooting in an international thinking is what's going to take folks internationally, even if they can't get there physically yet. If your mind isn't where you are, then you will be fine no matter what comes your way.
It's all about the mindset.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
So we want to get back. I want to give everyone a chance to spit and hopefully do another round of spitting. Now, I might be asking for a 2-for-1 biscuit, but if we can have some spitting and then some vocal percussion from the amazing Omicron, that would be fantabulous.
So like, what are you looking for? Like, do you
I'm
want
looking
beatbox,
for.
or do you want me to?
I would, if you can give us some poetry, if you can give us some beatbox, if you want to give us a mix, a combo, it's wherever the spirit moves you. I'm at.
Okay. So this is actually one of my upcoming assignments. One of the things that I've learned through the class is that like your pieces are like living entities. Like you can always go back and change stuff. So this is due on Tuesday, but this was the voice or the not the voice assignment. This is the use of silence assignment. So using silence to kind of just use it cleverly. I'm not too sure, so I'll just get started. I don't have a name for the this yet. A flash of lights in a race of emotions. Keep your guard up, son! Everything is blurred, and the only thing in focus is my opponent. Another flash of lights, and the body refuses to respond. Doubt begins to creep in and feed on my once invincible ego. What are you doing? Another flash of lights and panic sets in like a broken dam. Abrupt darkness. All I can hear is my heartbeat. Yeah.
Come on, man.
What? He did it. He did it.
That was crazy.
Different.
I felt that. Like every heartbeat, I was like, oh my
Yeah.
God, they're going next.
Maybe it was the headphones. It was like it's me.
Yeah.
Dope.
So we actually had we have like guest speakers comes on, and she actually mentioned Elm City Lit. She's actually from Connecticut. So when I mentioned Shaw that I was coming onto your podcast, she was just like, oh yeah, so they out of New Haven, right? I was just like, yeah. This was Alexa Laurel. She came and dropped some words for us. So I got that assignment from her, which is pretty dope. Yeah.
That the fact how you so the poem itself is dope, right? But with the added effects of where you're taking us in, I feel like your craft is so beautiful because you enact different senses, right? So folks probably felt their chest move. We definitely felt it, but I just love where you're taking your craft and where you're experimenting and giving folks a mix. It's like, folks, we've seen singing and poetry. Whenever the different art mediums become infused and people start putting them together, it's kind of like, I don't know if you've ever seen Steven Universe, y'all, but when you have like a gem fusion and you get like an opal, it's just like, yo, this is sick. And there's no other way that this could be happening. And thank you for sharing that with us. Like, we kind of just got like a sneak peek. Like, this didn't even hit the streets yet. You said this was Tuesday's homework. Is this a hosting list with exclusive? What? Here first? It's lit. Holy moly. We got Brother Logic back. Hey, can we tag you in to I hope my mind, I'm just so excited. I hope my mind isn't escaping me. You definitely haven't spit yet, right?
No,
I have not.
Okay. I'm still on point. They haven't gotten me. And the feds. Damn. Okay. They trying to get us, y'all, but we're gonna can you hear us? Blink twice if you can see it.
All right. Let's see. Okay. Let me see if I can memorize this. This doesn't even have a title. This song I just wrote. So I'll be sitting in my car, bumping on my old tracks, rolling up a blunt as I'm puffing on this black. Thoughts keep on racing as I'm sipping on this jack. The situations that I'm facing got me thinking it's a trap. Man, a working man's a sucker, and I'm seeing that's a fact. The road to success, and I'm riding on 4 flats. Man, I'm always feeling stepped on like I'm a doormat. Man, I'm always feeling slept on like life is a long nap. Man, you gotta feel my flame as I'm putting it on wax. Get the shit up off my chest to put this city on my back. I strive to be the best. put the city on a map. I'm dreaming that I could go, but I'm always stuck at where I'm at. This nightmare in the lost city of dreams. Hold up. This nightmare in the lost city of dreams. Man. I ain't gonna lie, I can't even remember the rest.
But
Hold up.
it don't.
This nightmare in the lost city of dreams.
That was fire. It don't matter if that was a to be continued, if that was it. No, that's
I'm sorry.
no,
I'm sorry.
definitely. That was dope, and I definitely have questions off that.
See, my thing is I write and then I try to memorize it that day and then keep it moving.
Keep it. I love it. So I wanted, based off of a line Logic just spit, I wanted to pose to the group, what do you do if you feel slept on? Like, what do you do if you're beginning your journey, or you're in your journey, or maybe you've peaked, right? Or kind of like what the Panderoni has done. Some folks was up and then it all stopped, right? So you up and now it's like, yo, it's not beeping. The phone not calling no more. They talking about we can't go outside. You got to have on a mask. People can't gather. But let's say you just feel like nobody hears you. Like you got these resources, you got these bars, you got this art, but you don't have a way to get it out. Or let's say you may be overthinking or going back and forth within yourself. What's some advice that you all can give to young artists and creatives who may be feeling like, yo, they don't hear me, but I'm riding for my city at the same time?
I think I'm kind of going through that right now. I have all the stuff, but like I haven't done the work to really, I guess kind of promote myself. I run like networking classes. I work for the Covenant House of Greater Washington, D.C., and I run these job readiness classes on networking. And like some of the stuff I tell my youth is that like you have to be kind of aware of like your brand, and just pretty much how people like identify you. So like when they see you, what's the first thing that comes to mind? You know what I mean? So when I think of Shaw, I think of the networker, the maneuver puller. You know what I mean? The maestro. You know what I mean? And once you kind of get an idea of how people see you, then you got to come up with an idea of what you actually want to be perceived as, and then you just got to start making those changes to adjust that. And ways you can do that are actually going to people that are in that exact same field, just asking questions as much as possible, and then just, constantly changing. And after a while, after you've been implementing those changes, people will see you as the brand that you would want to set up. So if anything, I just say it's a tedious process of really just trying to get yourself out there and just being consistent, and it's kind of ironic that I'm saying this because this is something that I'm like struggling with, and I teach my youth at the Covenant House. But that's pretty much all it is at the end of the day, man. And really just don't be discouraged. My beatboxing mentor, Chris Celez, for like the longest before I decided to want to like go out and like beatbox. So I was just like, yeah, but I'm not like world champion level, like Chris in the beatbox house. You know what I mean? Like I'm trash. I'm not like these guys. Like there are levels. And, it wasn't until like I went to him and he was just like, yo, don't even worry about how you come off. Just perform, because people are going to rock with you anyways. You know what I mean? And then like, don't really try to like compare yourself to other people or other people's kind of successes. Like you got your own race that you're running, So, yeah.
Word. The cards everyone's dealt are the cards you're dealt, right? No matter what the hand looks like. Mm-hmm. Does anyone else want to add to that?
So I got a great piece of advice when I first started like a couple months back. And somebody had told me that people are going to love you and people are going to hate you. But at the end of the day, you're going to do it for the people that love you. You're not doing it for the haters. You're doing it for the people that are going to keep into it, people that are going to stay tuned for your content. So as long as you're doing it for the right reason, and not even just for those people, as long as you're doing it for yourself and something you write has a message to it, you don't got to do it for anybody else. Like if you could read what you wrote and you're like, ooh, like this is, this resonates with me. Nobody has to feel it, but when you do perform that and people do feel it, it's going to feel a lot better, because it's like I said, it's bigger than you. At the end of the day, everything's always bigger than you.
Yeah, it's big. Facts.
He took the words right out of my mouth. As long as you do it for yourself, when it's your art, when you're expressing yourself and you doing it 100% for you, people are gonna feel that regardless. Like, cause it's real, it's pure. Like you can't. That's undeniable. And no matter what you're going through, and you put that on paper or on a track or anything, there's always someone out there that can relate. And I think that's the most important thing about art is being able to connect to people and remind them that they're not alone in whatever situation that they're going through.
Yes, sir.
I mean that's like the biggest motivation for me when it comes to art, any art form, honestly. Even with my clothing line, Outcasts and Weirdos. That's like be you, be 100% yourself, and don't be afraid to be yourself. Like be the weirdo, be the outcast. It's okay. That's the whole move.
I think it's important to also not be afraid to fail, and actually to welcome failure, because no one ever garnered any success without some failure, and I think we learn more from things that we try that didn't go our way rather than things that did. And I think we experience a lot of personal growth when we step outside of our comfort zones. And when you're creating art, is such a personal thing. It can be very scary to like kind of put it out there, but you never know whose life you might touch, who you might inspire. And I just think it's important. Like, don't be afraid to fail. Just go out and do it.
I think it was Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee had said, losing is a state of mind. You never lose, you learn.
Everything's a lesson.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
It's lessons. That's what I was about to say. Bouncing off an anchor, every loss is a lesson.
Because if you get caught up in like failures, or if you're seeing it as a negative, it's like, whoa, I just kind of went through that for nothing, right? And then going through something for nothing is like the worst feeling possible. But I think Michelle brings up an important point of understanding failure. It's natural. As there's up, there's down. It's gonna happen. It's always a setback for a set up, no matter how it may
It's all part of the process.
Exactly. The time is ever changing. There's an ever flow of things just naturally. So it's really about how you maintain. How do you respond when it gets low, when it gets hard? Like, are you going to fold? Are you going to blame yourself? Or are you going to be like, okay, well, I'm here and this is just what's happening? The line that is, you can't worry about what you can't control. It's so simple contextually, but in application, it's such a strength to have. And I think everything we're talking about are all skills that we're working on ourselves, and that someone will always work on. You'll always work on your courage. You'll always work on pulling yourself out of your comfort zone. Because if you feel like Miss Ife, who's our founder, who is working Facebook right now, she always says, you never feel like you arrived. If you felt like you arrived, if you peaked in high school, well, what do you do these other 40 years? What do you do if you're just like, oh, well, that was fun. Now what are we going to do?
That part.
LOL. Michelle, I wanted to get into your YA writing. Can you tell us a little bit more about, well, a lot more about that, to be honest?
Yeah. YA simply stands for young adult. And it's pretty much just what the market calls that kind of genre of books. It's marketed towards teenagers. And there's a little bit of there's been a little bit of a stigma in the literary world about young adult literature, that it's oftentimes easier to write, that anyone can write a young adult novel for teenagers or whatever. But I wholly disagree that it's not as easy, and if not, it's harder, because a person's defining years are the teenage years, and if you're writing a young adult novel for teenagers, you want to navigate that correctly. And yeah, I grew up. I wasn't much of a writer or reader until rap one, but mostly what I got into reading from young adult novels, and young adult novels really inspired me to read more and to become a writer, to become a serious writer. For example, S.E. Hinton really inspired me, John Green, Robert Cormier. And at some point, I just very young at like 14, I just kind of knew that's what I wanted to do. And I just kind of followed that. So I do a lot of most of my reading is young adult literature. And I'm actually currently working on a young adult fantasy trilogy right now, a book series.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I'm really excited about that, and I'm working diligently on that. And yeah, it's young adult. The young adult market is I think it's amazing. I think it's my favorite space to kind of creatively explore, for sure.
You bring up an interesting point about the genre of young adult fiction, and how you said that it seems easier, but you definitely just pointed out that it's not the case, and because these are formative years, right? So I feel like that comes with a level of responsibility, like being a teacher. Everyone isn't cut out to teach, because I think about books that I read when I was a young adult. Like that, you said John Green. John Green took me on so many different journeys and rides. I think about Sister Soldier. I think about the bios that you get, whether it's like Asada Shakur, whether it's a Malcolm X. There's different books that you go through that take you on a ride, and it's like, okay, everybody can't do this, so you can't necessarily deem it as anybody could do it because it's for children. I feel like anything that has to do with children, there's a certain level of delicacy and duty that's there, because anybody just can't go around the kids. Everyone isn't meant to be an educator and informer in that way. So definitely I wanted to give you your flowers for for being a person in that field, for taking that responsibility and providing content for this demographic of our population that's kind of really looked over at Elm City Lit. We do a lot of intergenerational, like we all vary in age at this moment. Like I think the oldest person on this call right now is 31, minus Rev Kevin in the back. We all vary in different ages, and it definitely brings us different perspective. And I think as our communities heal and we move forward, that's something we can't forget. It can't just be, okay, the youth are doing this and the elders are over there. No, it's all of us, everybody, as we think about those who are coming up from us. You spoke about some of the people who've inspired you, Michelle. I wanted to ask folks who've inspired your writing, or who currently is inspiring your writing as you create it, whether it's poetry or music or anything that you're into. Like what's guiding you right now?
So life. I like to write about experience and just like things that I feel. Like I could be sitting there, I look up at the sky, and the sky it'll be golden hour, so the sun's like an orange color, and I'll think of something. Ooh, it looks like a tangerine, and that'll give me inspiration. The tangerine color sky, and I'll write like that. So basically, I can find inspiration from anything. But what I like to do when I'm not writing is I like to study some of the great poets that are already doing it, like Jay-Z, DMX, Andre 3000. Their wordplay, the way they're able to just find different pockets on the beat and make words rhyme that shouldn't have rhymed is just incredible to me. So I try to emulate the things that they do, and I just try to turn that into my poetry, because I don't want my poetry to ever sound like it's a rap, but I want to give it that cadence to where it comes off and you can feel the rhyme without a beat actually being on.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
I'll go next. So some people like I'm like Phil. I don't really get inspiration from like specific people necessarily, or like celebrities, or like some big rappers. You know, I got my Kendrick Lamars and Joey Badass and stuff like that. But you know, when I'm really around, you know, other poets, like in there, like when we did the gang poetry night, and I'm just sitting there listening to everybody, I'm like, okay, I gotta be better than him, or I gotta be better than him, I gotta be better than him. Or even I want to work with him, I want to work with Phil, I want to work with MK, I want to work with Logic, you know, and stuff like that. So you know, that really drives my creative process. But also, you know, I got inspiration from watching Family Guy the other day. and it's something completely different. Like he fought the chicken, and I was like, oh, you know what's crazy? The ocean the other day was beautiful. I could really write some stuff about that, and it doesn't connect at all, but it's just like, oh, it snapped in my mind, and it's just, and things like that are, it's, you know, we was talking about Bruce the other day. I mean, not the other day, earlier. You know, be like water. Everything flows naturally.
Yep. I know that whole quote.
That's crazy.
I said, open your minds. Be formless, shapeless, like water. If you put water into a cup, it becomes a cup. You put it into a teapot, it becomes a teapot. Put it in a bottle, it becomes a bottle. Now, water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend. Yeah, I'm a big avid.
The great.
Yeah, big avid Bruce Lee fan. Like, I'm a martial artist, so like I can talk about fighting all day. Like, but the reason, but for people that don't know, the reason why Bruce Lee's so influential is because he was the first to kind of realize that, like, you know, there isn't just one martial art that's better than the other, or like, you know, back then everybody's like, oh, my boxing is better than your Muay Thai, and that's the ultimate gospel, and this is the ultimate fight style. But what Bruce Lee kind of realized, and even with his fight style, Jeet-Kune-Do, was that, like, you know, every martial art had something to give and take from it. You know what I mean? And like he used that kind of like as a life philosophy in general. Like we're constantly being inspired by other people and taking what we believe to be useful and helpful to our lives and discarding the stuff that isn't. You know what I mean? And so yeah, I feel like it can go off on a tangent, but I'm not going to do that because I could talk forever. But the point I'm trying to make is that, like, Bruce Lee was the first to really, you know, come up with the idea that we're all like really unique individuals who have the ability to, you know, you're an iteration of what can be and the endless possibilities of what can be. You know what I mean? So like you can take this. I'm sorry. Let me stop.
No, you are.
Nah, man, good, bro.
Feeling it.
You can't stop. You can't stop the natural flow. I think what you're sharing and how you're sharing it so naturally, I think is kind of when you all speak about, I just got an idea, or when something just comes to you, when it just flows organically and it flows naturally. It's like you've captivated all of us. So we're all here because what you're saying, we're supposed to hear.
Yeah.
I've just loved today, and I would just like to say everyone here has really phenomenal music taste. I've heard some names I've heard Freddie Gibbs, I've heard Joey Badass, I've heard folks talk about Hove and DMX. I'm really glad I could have jumped out of my seat.
Prayers up for DMX.
Yes, definitely. We will send our love and our prayers to X. And I'm glad that Logic said he's a poet, and folks understand that X is like a poet. That man is a genius. Just like off rip, that man is a genius.
Yeah, I think he's actually he's stable now. I think he's actually doing pretty good. The last I heard.
He's breathing on his own. That's all I know. He's no longer on life support. He's breathing on his own. So that's definitely a good thing.
So for those that don't know, rapper DMX was recently hospitalized due to a drug overdose. And I think that was on Friday. But I think I heard about this on Saturday that he's actually in stable condition. He's doing better. So
yeah, he's doing much better. And X has many folks and many artists that folks we know they're on an ever-changing journey, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like every 2 times you get signs like, okay, I need you to tighten up. I need you to come on. Let's make this happen. And I think what we're seeing now is a lot of folks showing their love. I think back in the day, you couldn't necessarily get the love as one can get the love on social media. And I think for folks and everyone to know, like folks from across the world are rocking with you, especially when we think about folks in our circle, in our villages. Like Gang Poetry is a village. DC Spit Academy is a village. Like we're creating a village here at Elm City Lit Fest. And you need it as you maneuver and groove through life. We're coming down to the end of our time together, but I do want to give folks who haven't had a chance to respond to the Who Inspires You, but also tag in some folks to spit, to say a final piece as we exit. So I'll tag in Phil, and then Phil, if you can tag other folks when you're finished, and you can You can respond, you can close out however you would like to close out. I'll leave that up to you all, what you would like to leave the people with.
Great. So, final piece I'm actually going to do is called The Root of Sin. All right. So, my voice is powerful. My skin birthed a nation. But your injustice is geared to just us, so fuck your Emancipation Proclamation.
Ooh.
We had a vision. We had a dream. And that vision turned into a nightmare. But you got people looking at me thinking, why should I care? Because if we were all born equal, explain to me, how is it fair? I didn't choose to call this place my home. You kidnapped me and brought me here. We will combat with combat, but I don't need a bat. My militia won't be militarized, and we don't need no hats. It's a dog-eat-dog world, and we don't need no cats. But we don't discriminate, we're indifferent, because we've experienced years of that. So send my word through the printer and let them know that these are facts. Limitations on the amendment in my mind, like a remnant bound by words through a document approved by the Senate. I don't get it, but the real savage is in the way you did it. I won't get into particulars, but you strangled vernaculars until we choked up languages forgotten but spectacular. It's a race with this given race. We were born of sin. I wonder if the apple wasn't ate back when we began, if that apple could be used as a peace offering, but you can't change the past. Looks like they missed a great friend. I wish somebody would have known the tree of knowledge would cause great sin. Appreciate y'all. So
That was awesome.
Thank you. Actually, I have some more content coming out recently. It's called PTSD, which is my Pain Turns Saints Demons that I have. It's going to be a 4-part series I have going on Instagram right now. And it's basically just talking about how pain could take somebody that was so innocent and pure and just turn them into a demon, which is like either them being on their demon time or now they're just like so toxic and, hurt people. So it's like, Pain Turns Saints Demons. I just want everybody to tap in, stay tuned for the content I got coming, the visuals, everything is going to be crazy. So I appreciate everybody for tapping into that.
So we will definitely make sure to share everything everyone has going on. Brother Bear, would you like to go next?
Yeah. So this next piece is called Control. The reason I don't drink or get high, I don't need a smoke screen to get by or hazy eyes to see the sunshine. These are wide open. No distance between the moon and me. I handle what's supposed to be. The only other secrets kept are the ones that have no hold on me. The difference is the older me might be able to tell as all fell down that these vices don't control when that big star touches the ground. I could imagine him like how? Could you imagine? Sorry. I could imagine him like how? Could you possibly think that having a little fun would damage the potential of your future looking like the sun? I know there's fractures in your mind that travel to different spaces in time to when you saw your mommy banging on the line or when you saw your auntie cracked out laying on the side. It was hard to say hi, even harder to say bye. But you pushed through. Now look at you, standing tall, thinking you were above it all. Even a lick of Hennessy will make that skin crawl. You got a call, said the deadbeat who was supposedly your dad to be was looking for some serenity and OD'd on what could have been some ecstasy, crack cocaine, methamphetamines. Remember we traveled and built the city. Everything was so fun to me, but you let it slip again and your father might have some company. Wallowing in self-doubt, wondering how successfully you damage your life with mental weaponry. Might do so many drugs, you die on the couch so comfortably that your best friend doesn't realize you passed while your body loses color, see you starting to look ugly. You wake up in the clouds, higher one asking, what do you want from me? And it's just a second chance because you ruined the first one with that sip of bubbly. So this time I suggest you run from me. Yeah, that's me, Brother Bear. You can follow me on Instagram at King Brother Bear. And you can follow my collective at it's in my bio. Yeah, you can just follow
Transcribers, baby.
You can follow the transcribers. We do have an event coming up in May. We are looking for poets So if there are any poets on the stream watching, and my brother and sister here, please come through. But yeah, that's me. Check me out.
We love it. Brother Logic, can you bless us?
Yes. I'm gonna go a little lover boy on this. Life is called Lifetime. Can I love you for a lifetime? Can I feed your soul and kiss your love lines, caress your hips with my lips, and run my tongue down your spine? Is that cool? Can you tell me your dreams as I gaze into your eyes so vivid? As I recognize this soul that is purely artistic, I mean, you wear your ambitions like a tattoo. No need for a vaccine to unmask you. I never seen such beauty before. You transcend space and time. I can search the cosmos and collect 1,000 suns, and it still won't measure up to your shine. I just want to take your hand and slow dance across the Milky Way. Is that okay? I want to hear every story behind every scar. I want to know every person that hurt you so I can cut the brake lines from their car. But nah, for real though, I know you're strong. I know you're brave and daring. I know you're witty, charismatic, and caring. And I also apologize for all those times that you caught me staring. But to be real, I just think that you're absolutely radiant. I mean, looking at you, ain't no way I could be atheist. I see the goddess in you. So can I make you mine? Can I cater to your every need, support and help you achieve every dream if you don't mind? So can I love you for a lifetime? Like I said, you can go on my IG, Logic_Taylor. I have a clothing line called Outcasts and Weirdos. That's the link is in that bio as well. And I have two other lines that I'm dropping in June. One is called Know Your Worth, and another line that's called Hippie Life. And I'm working on. I'm actually just starting on a short. I'm writing on the script for a short film, a set of short films actually. That's about the life of a single father. I mean, I know I'm a dad myself who's going through his own little issues, and I have several friends who are dads who are struggling to, be in their child's life full time. And I feel like we've always heard the story of a bad dad, and I think it's time that we give a story about good fathers who are trying their best. So that's those are the things that I'm working on. And I got a couple other things that I'm working on, but I don't want to say just yet. But yeah. I want to appreciate you guys for letting me on this as well.
Of course. It's our duty, right? As Elm City Lit Fest, we are here we're really based in service. And as Brother Logic has captured our hearts and we are all floating on clouds, let's float right on over to Michelle.
Well, first I just want to say, hearing you guys spit, it's really inspiring, really, and I'm already getting kind of inspiration for a new piece. So I just want to say thank you to all of you. This is called Little Magic. Say the magic words, and it will all go away. Rest is futile, followed by words used to pray, and grief returns like dew after day. Death is like a little magic. Poof, gone. The white rabbit disappears through the hole in the wall that leads somewhere underground. And only after time does its thing, it too returns without a sound. Whenever you watch a perfect snowflake fall and melt away on the ground, when you wake from a dream you can't remember, the tear in the corner of your eye, warm and round, the white rabbit returns from behind a red curtain to show you, to remind you of some other words you have found. You guys can follow me at my socials, which is pretty much MK Calero, MKCALERO, pretty much everywhere. Mostly I post my writings, poetry on Instagram. And the more performances I do, they're definitely going to go up there. And Shah, I just want to say this has been a lot of fun. So thank you so much for having me.
Oh, my heart is so full. Like, I'm over here geeking. I'm trying to be cool, but I'm geeked out right now. Well, thank you all. Last but certainly not least, Omicron, can you take us out, my brother?
Yeah. Once again, I just want to say thank you for having all of us. You guys are all talented. You're all really dope. I think one thing to kind of take away from this is that, like, you know, you got to give back. I mean, we haven't gotten as far as we have as a species, or just even a race, you know, without like relying on somebody else. So just got to give back as much as possible. Yeah. Okay. I'll just get started. You guys ready? Boom, cap, ticka, ticka, tip, cap, ticka, da boom, tip, a cap, to boom, cap, a ticka, boom. No, I'm just playing with y'all. I'm playing with y'all. Wait. Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name's Omicron. Omicron.
Oh, how am I supposed to leave now? I'm hyped.
Thank you.
That was amazing.
You can follow me on Instagram at OMICRon Shaman. It's OMICRon Beatbox. Sorry about that. Beatbox. Again, I just started poetry, but I'm trying to figure out how to kind of incorporate that into my poetry. I'm actually going to be performing at a project in July. That's through the DC Spit That Academy. At the end of this, they're partnered up with the Woolly Mammoth Theater Company, as well as a live performance at the Arc. And this is the Homegrown, which is an initiative for homegrown artists from Ward 7 and Ward 8 of Washington, D.C. I'm going to be also performing tomorrow. Let me get that information for you. They'll kill me if I mess this up. This is going to be at the Spit That Digital, The Youth Are the Truth, Part 1. This is going to be on Monday at 8 p.m. You can go on Instagram and follow DC Spit That. It's just exactly how it is. It's DC SPITDAT. Yeah, awesome.
And with that being said, that's that on that. Okay, my heart is so full. This has been a phenomenal show. Time has just flown by. We've honestly gone over our time, and I love when this happens because this was just like a dope, genuine, authentic conversation that just flows so beautifully. Thank you all for coming up here and sharing and just really being your transparent selves with us. We want to give a big shout out always to Rev Kev and Bayo Bowtree Studios for holding us down. They do all of our tech. Rev makes sure we look spectacular out here in these streets. A big shout out to Emily Mayo, our girl, one of the co-coordinators on Elm City Lit Fest, who does all of our marketing and a lot of our behind the scenes work. And the biggest shout out to our OG, our matriarch, Miss Ife. Miss Ife, Michelle Gardine, we love you. We would all not be here without Miss Ife. So we give her our flowers as we all join here. Another big shout out and thanks to SVP Partners of Connecticut for sponsoring this podcast. And with that being said, is that on that. We will see you all in another 2 weeks. Thank you all for showing up and coming out. Please follow these folks. Don't just be watching and don't do the application after. It's really all in the follow-up. So check out everything that they said. We will definitely post the links, and stay safe and stay sharp. We'll see you later.
Thank you.